Pegasus's story begins with one of the most extraordinary and dramatic origins in Greek mythology. His birth is intertwined with the defeat of the fearsome Gorgon Medusa by the hero Perseus. Medusa, once a beautiful maiden, had been transformed into a monstrous figure with snakes for hair, capable of turning anyone who gazed upon her into stone. She was not born a monster, but her transformation was a punishment from the goddess Athena after she was defiled by Poseidon in Athena's own temple. This made Medusa's story one of tragedy, and it is from this tragic event that Pegasus emerges. When Perseus was tasked with beheading Medusa as part of his quest, he sought the aid of Athena and Hermes, who provided him with the tools necessary to accomplish this dangerous mission: a reflective shield, winged sandals, a sickle, and a magical bag to safely contain Medusa's head. Perseus managed to avoid her deadly gaze by using his shield as a mirror, and with a swift strike, he severed Medusa's head. From the blood that spilled from her neck, something miraculous happened. Pegasus, the magnificent winged horse, sprang forth, fully grown and glorious. Alongside Pegasus, the giant warrior Chrysa was also born, making the moment of Medusa's death a birth for two remarkable beings. Pegasus's birth is significant for several reasons. First, it ties him directly to the divine and monstrous world of Greek mythology, connecting him to Poseidon, the god of the sea, as his father. Poseidon, in his horse form, had fathered Pegasus with Medusa, which explains why Pegasus is often associated with both the sea and horses. Secondly, the nature of his birth, emerging from blood, cements Pegasus as a creature of both great beauty and great power, embodying the duality often found in Greek myths, where light and dark are always in balance. This dramatic origin sets the stage for Pegasus's later adventures and his role as a symbol of freedom and transcendence. After his birth, Pegasus immediately flew away, taking to the skies and symbolizing a creature that was not bound by earthly constraints. This freedom would soon bring him into contact with one of the greatest heroes in Greek mythology, Bellerophon, and together they would embark on a series of legendary adventures. The tale of Pegasus and Bellerophon is one of the most celebrated partnerships in ancient mythology, standing alongside famous duos like Achilles and Patroclus, or Heracles and Iolaus. Bellerophon was a young hero renowned for his bravery and noble lineage, but it was his encounter with Pegasus that would propel him into the realm of legend. The story of their partnership begins with Bellerophon's desire to capture Pegasus, for he knew that such a mighty steed would help him achieve greatness. Bellerophon's ambition was not unwarranted. He had already proven his mettle by undertaking numerous heroic deeds, but to accomplish his most dangerous quest, the defeat of the monstrous Chimera, he needed more than just courage. The Chimera, a terrifying creature with the body of a lion, the head of a goat, and the tail of a serpent, was wreaking havoc across the land. It breathed fire and was nearly invincible. No ordinary warrior could defeat such a beast, and Bellerophon understood that he needed the strength and speed of Pegasus to succeed. However, taming Pegasus was no simple feat. The winged horse, as wild and free as the wind itself, would not be easily captured. It was the goddess Athena who came to Bellerophon's aid, offering him a golden bridle and advising him to use it to tame Pegasus. According to the myth, Athena appeared to Bellerophon in a dream, offering him this divine gift, which would grant him control over the untamable creature. Upon waking, Bellerophon found the golden bridle beside him, a sign that the gods were indeed favoring him. With the bridle in hand, Bellerophon approached Pegasus while the horse drank from the sacred spring of Pyrene. This spring, said to have been created by Pegasus himself when his hoof struck the ground, was a place of purity and magic. As Bellerophon placed the bridle on Pegasus, the great horse did not resist. Instead, he allowed himself to be tamed, and the bond between the two was forged. Together, Bellerophon and Pegasus embarked on their most famous adventure, the slaying of the Chimera. Riding atop the winged horse, Bellerophon was able to stay out of reach of the Chimera's fiery breath and deadly claws. From the skies, he struck the monster with his spear, eventually slaying the beast and saving the kingdom from destruction. This victory cemented Bellerophon's status as a hero and showcased the incredible power and grace of Pegasus. Their partnership, however, did not end with the Chimera. Bellerophon, emboldened by his success and the favor of the gods, undertook several more quests with Pegasus at his side. The duo became inseparable, with Bellerophon relying on Pegasus to carry him to new heights, both literally and metaphorically. However, as is often the case in Greek mythology, hubris would soon lead to Bellerophon's downfall. Despite his great successes, Bellerophon's pride began to grow, and with it, his ambition. He had achieved what few others could, and now he sought even greater glory. His victories, his bond with Pegasus, and the favor of the gods made him believe that he was invincible. This hubris, or excessive pride, would ultimately be his undoing. Bellerophon's desire for eternal glory led him to attempt something no mortal had ever dared. He sought to ride Pegasus to Mount Olympus, the home of the gods. The idea of a mortal ascending to the realm of the gods was a grave affront to the ancient Greek understanding of the cosmos, where the boundary between mortals and immortals was strictly maintained. Even though Bellerophon had been favored by the gods, his arrogance in believing he could join their ranks was a serious transgression. As Bellerophon soared higher and higher on the back of Pegasus, nearing the gates of Olympus, Zeus, the king of the gods, took notice of his audacity. Infuriated by Bellerophon's attempt to defy the natural order, Zeus sent a gadfly to sting Pegasus. The sudden pain caused Pegasus to buck violently, and Bellerophon was thrown from the horse's back, plummeting to the earth below. Unlike Icarus, who fell because of his own recklessness in flying too close to the sun, Bellerophon's fall was a divine punishment for his hubris. Bellerophon survived the fall, but was left crippled and blind, a shadow of the hero he once was. He wandered the earth in misery, rejected by the gods and man alike, a cautionary tale of what happens when mortals overstep their bounds and challenge the gods. Pegasus, on the other hand, flew on, free once more and unbound by any rider. This moment marks a critical turning point in the myth, showing the contrast between mortal limitations and the eternal, untouchable nature of divine creatures like Pegasus. Pegasus, having cast off Bellerophon, was welcomed by Zeus into Olympus, where he became the bearer of Zeus's thunderbolts. While Bellerophon's fall was a lesson in humility for mortals, Pegasus's continued flight represented his unbroken connection to the gods and the heavens, where he would eventually be immortalized in the stars. After Bellerophon's tragic fall, Pegasus continued his celestial journey. Freed from mortal bonds, he rose to even greater heights, eventually finding his place among the gods. The myth of Pegasus's ascent into the heavens is rich with symbolism, representing not only his divine nature, but also the idea of transcendence and immortality. Once Pegasus cast Bellerophon from his back, the winged horse was no longer bound by earthly concerns. Zeus, the king of the gods, took notice of Pegasus's strength, loyalty, and ability to traverse the skies with ease. Recognizing Pegasus as a creature of extraordinary value, Zeus invited him to Mount Olympus. There, Pegasus was given an honored position as the bearer of Zeus's thunderbolts. This role was of great significance, for Zeus's thunderbolts were not only symbols of his supreme power, but also instruments of divine justice. By carrying these weapons of the gods, Pegasus became a key figure in maintaining the cosmic order. The connection between Pegasus and the thunderbolts further cemented his role as a divine intermediary, capable of crossing the boundaries between the mortal world and the realm of the gods. As the bearer of Zeus's thunderbolts, Pegasus was often depicted in mythology as accompanying Zeus during storms, flying across the sky with the thunder and lightning following in his wake. His presence in the heavens symbolized the divine control over natural forces and reminded the ancient Greeks of the gods' power to shape the world. However, Pegasus's story does not end with his service to Zeus. In a final act of honoring this magnificent creature, Zeus immortalized Pegasus by placing him among the stars as a constellation. This transformation into a constellation marked Pegasus's full transition from the mortal world into the eternal. As a constellation, Pegasus occupies a prominent place in the night sky, visible in the northern hemisphere and part of Greek astronomy's rich tapestry. The constellation of Pegasus is composed of 4 bright stars that form a large square, known as the Great Square of Pegasus. This formation has been observed for millennia and holds significance not only in Greek mythology, but also in astronomy and navigation. For the ancient Greeks, the presence of Pegasus in the night sky served as a reminder of his storied life, his freedom, and his connection to the divine. The placement of Pegasus among the stars ensured that he would be remembered for eternity, transcending the mortal plane and becoming a permanent part of the cosmos. Pegasus's elevation to the heavens also symbolized the idea of immortality through memory and storytelling. By immortalizing Pegasus in the stars, the Greeks ensured that his story would be passed down through generations, continuing to inspire those who gazed up at the sky. The constellation of Pegasus was not only a marker of the seasons and a guide for travelers, but also a symbol of how myth and legend can live on long after the heroes and creatures of those stories have passed. The transformation of Pegasus into a constellation speaks to the broader themes of Greek mythology: the tension between mortality and immortality, the relationship between the gods and humans, and the desire for transcendence. For the ancient Greeks, the stars were not just distant lights, but living reminders of their myths, their gods, and their heroes. By looking up at Pegasus in the night sky, they could connect to the stories of their ancestors, and in doing so, keep those stories alive. While Pegasus's mythological journey ends with his placement in the stars, his influence did not stop there. Pegasus's legacy transcended the boundaries of ancient Greece and continued to inspire artists, poets, and storytellers throughout history. From classical times to the modern era, Pegasus has remained a symbol of imagination, creativity, and the pursuit of freedom. In ancient Greek art, Pegasus was often depicted as a symbol of divine inspiration and heroism. Sculptures, pottery, and mosaics frequently featured the winged horse, often alongside figures like Bellerophon or Perseus. These depictions emphasized Pegasus's connection to the gods and his role in mythological stories of adventure and triumph. Artists used Pegasus to represent the idea of soaring above human limitations, both physically and metaphorically. making him a powerful symbol for those who sought to achieve greatness. The image of Pegasus also found a special place in literature, particularly in the works of poets and writers who saw the winged horse as a metaphor for artistic inspiration. One of the most famous examples comes from the Roman poet Hesiod, who wrote about Pegasus in his Theogony. According to Hesiod, Pegasus was born alongside the Muses, the goddesses of the arts and sciences. This connection to the Muses further solidified Pegasus's role as a symbol of creativity and poetic inspiration. In many ways, Pegasus came to represent the idea of the creative spirit taking flight, unbound by the constraints of the ordinary world. In later literature, particularly during the Renaissance, Pegasus became a favorite symbol for writers and artists who sought to explore the themes of imagination and transcendence. The winged horse was often used as a metaphor for the power of poetry and art to elevate the soul, allowing humans to escape the mundane and reach new heights of understanding and beauty. Writers like Ludovico Ariosto, in his epic Orlando Furioso, used Pegasus as a fantastical creature that embodied the heroic and the magical, blending myth and adventure in a way that captivated audiences. Pegasus's legacy continued to evolve in the modern era, where he became a symbol not only of creativity, but also of freedom and independence. The image of the winged horse, soaring through the sky, represented the ideal of breaking free from constraints, whether they be physical, emotional, or societal. In literature, film, and popular culture, Pegasus is often portrayed as a creature of unbridled freedom, inspiring those who seek to transcend their limitations. In contemporary times, Pegasus remains a popular figure in various forms of media. From films to video games, the image of the winged horse continues to captivate audiences around the world. Pegasus's role as a symbol of hope, freedom, and inspiration has ensured that his story remains relevant in modern storytelling. His image is used in logos, brands, and emblems, often representing speed, power, and grace. The idea of Pegasus has transcended his mythological origins, becoming a universal symbol of achievement and aspiration. Moreover, Pegasus's connection to the arts has persisted. Many writers and poets still invoke Pegasus as a symbol of inspiration, calling upon the myth of the winged horse as a metaphor for the creative process. Pegasus's ability to fly between the mortal and divine realms mirrors the artist's ability to transcend the ordinary and tap into something greater than themselves. This lasting association between Pegasus and the creative spirit ensures that his legacy will continue to inspire generations of artists, poets, and dreamers. Ultimately, Pegasus's legacy is one of transformation and transcendence. From his miraculous birth from Medusa's blood to his elevation into the stars, Pegasus represents the idea of rising above the constraints of the mortal world and achieving greatness. His story has resonated with people across time and cultures, symbolizing the eternal human desire to reach beyond the ordinary and soar into the extraordinary. Whether as a hero's companion, a symbol of artistic inspiration, or a constellation in the night sky, Pegasus remains a timeless figure whose legacy continues to inspire and captivate.